Okay, so Dr. Sapna is our anesthetist who is in charge of the quality control at IIT Jodh. She took the webinar with Dr. Samina Mazumdar on the WASH program. Are you sharing the screen?
Yes, sir. I'm
Okay,
ready.
yeah, you can start.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Good morning, dear friends, colleagues. It's a pleasure to give a speech for Aditya Jodh Eye Hospital. My topic is hospital precautions during COVID times. As we all know, when we cough, the particles, the air droplets, they travel at 60 miles per hour. There are 3,000 to 4,000 droplets, but when we sneeze, it's at 100 miles. That's 40,000 to 1 lakh droplets. WHO recommends there are minimum requirements for infection prevention and control program. We need to take these minimal precautions, not full, but minimum precautions are required in COVID times. When we speak about flattening the curve, we mean we need to take precautions to slow the spread of the virus and not overwhelm and burden the hospital facilities. This is what the CDC recommends. In the hierarchy of control of infection, we need to eliminate physically, remove the hazard, substitute the hazard, that's replace the hazard, and engineering controls are more important and more effective than the administrative control in which we change the way we work, and PPE are the least effective as recommended by CDC. The stealth of transmission of the SARS coronavirus 2 is a hidden transmission. We do not know where the spread is occurring from. It's mostly through micro droplets, through hand, through fomites, through close contact. It's a very rapid spread. How long is the virus detectable on surfaces? On cardboard, it's 24 hours. On stainless steel, it's 2 to 3 days, and on plastic, it's more than 3 days. Droplets more than 5 microns. It's the droplet nuclei that are more important in transmission, which are less than 5 microns. They are in the aerosols and they are present in air and in fomites. The transmission occurs 1 to 3 days before the onset of symptoms and lasts for up to 2 to 3 weeks. The size of the virus is very small. It's about 0.05 to zero point 0.2 microns. It's called the corona because it has a crown around it. We need to avoid close contact. Even at our homes, we need to maintain social distancing. Regarding the testing, the precautions we need to take, I'll be covering up also. WHO coined the term on 11th Feb 2020, COVID-19. It was declared as a pandemic on 11th March 2020 by the WHO. Now, there are two methods of testing which are done in hospital settings is the RT-PCR and the antibody testing. RT-PCR is the real-time reverse transcriptase, is the gold standard for testing. 0 to 5 days, the patient is usually asymptomatic. It's in the 5 to 7 days when the symptoms occur is when the RT-PCR starts getting positive. After the first week is the IgM. After the 7th day is when the IgM tests positive, and it's after the 14th day that IgG appears and remains till the patient has immunity. The diagnostic sensitivity of RNA RT-PCR has 67 to around 70% sensitivity in the first week, total antibodies in the second week, 90% sensitivity, and third week onwards, 100%. IgM is more sensitive in following the second week, 73% sensitivity, and IgG is 80% sensitivity third week onwards. Now, COVID-19 test interpretation is very important for surgery. If we are doing only the RT-PCR, a positive, if the patient is positive, we refer for treatment. But if the patient is negative, we go ahead with surgery. If we have only an antibody test at hand, if it is negative, we can go ahead with surgery if the patient has no flu-like symptoms in the past month. But if the antibody is positive, we request the patient to do an RT-PCR. If the RT-PCR is positive, we refer refer for treatment, but if it's negative, we can go ahead with surgery. If we have RT-PCR and antibody tests at hand, an ideal situation would be to have both of them negative and proceed for surgery. But if PCR is negative and antibody is positive, we repeat the PCR 1 week later. If both are positive, we refer for treatment, and if RT-PCR is positive and antibody negative, also we refer for treatment. Protocols for testing during elective surgery. Patients for all surgeries be investigated for COVID as far as possible. RT-PCR for all major eye surgeries, VR, glaucoma, orbit, oculoplasty, pediatric ophthalm, and cornea. In patients who have been COVID positive, RT-PCR negative status within past 3 months to be documented. A minimum of 3 weeks should have elapsed from the RT-PCR negative status. Intravitreal injections, minor procedures, patients to be tested as per the surgeon anesthetist discretion. Fitness should be by an MD physician. During emergency surgery, RT-PCR negative status post 1 week can be considered for surgery. Corneal tears, wound repairs, etc. can be done with full precautions, including isolation in ward. COVID tests to be done, but test results should not be awaited. If GA is needed, full workup with HRCT, coagulation, and lipid profile to be done. With this, I can complete the testing. The next part of my presentation is the standard operating protocol for registration process during COVID-19. Every patient coming to the hospital should be considered to be potentially infected with SARS coronavirus 2, suitable precautions to be taken by all the staff. General guidelines, we all know: social distancing, wash hands after touching a patient, wash at entry and exit every hour for 20 seconds, always wear a mask, do not touch your eye and face unnecessarily, and cough and sneeze into a tissue paper or with a flexed elbow. Uh, a patient comes to the hospital, the patient is greeted with a namaste, go to the screening desk, registration desk, waiting area, consulting room, exit through the other way. All doors and entrances and exit are always kept open. A patient screening desk, staff posted at the gate must wear full PPE, gown, gloves, face mask, and face shield, greeting with namaste. A thermal screening with an infrared non-contact thermometer. Nowadays, we do the temperature at the wrist because it affects the pineal gland. Also, we do a pulse oximetry where we take the pulse, and the SpO2 are more reliable than thermal screening. Explain about hand wash. The patient needs to wash his hands and sanitize at the entrance. Leave old files and belongings, old mask outside at a secure allotted place. Give every patient a new mask as per government advisory. One patient, one attendant policy. Instruct them to avoid touching any surface as far as possible. COVID consent questionnaire to be asked and signed by the patient and placed in a box, duly checked if the answer to the questionnaire is no and the consent is signed. If answer is yes, the questionnaire to the questionnaire and the patient is febrile, we need to fast track the patient towards OPD, and in case if it is an emergency, or explain the patient regarding the symptoms and direct him for COVID testing. This is the consent. This is the COVID questionnaire, and this is the consent form. The scope, it is to be filled by all patients and their families with their mobile numbers. Responsibility of the registration and frontline staff. We need to store them and these papers and upload them in the EMR after 72 hours after UV light for about 3 hours. This form needs to be displayed at all registration counter. This consent is merged with the general consent of the hospital in the EMR. Aim of display so that the patient can read before signing it. This is countersigned by the staff to ensure completeness of the form. Reception desk, they must wear mask, gloves, face shield, and the reception is partitioned with glass acrylic sheet. Registration form filled by the patient and placed in a different box. The box can be passed across to make registration. Old patients, they just enter the registration number and make a token. The new patient enters details, gives the ID number and token number on the file. Encourage for cashless transactions as far as possible. The cash is treated with UV light and to be opened at the end of the day. Reducing instances of hand-to-hand transfer, debit card machines. You can plan doing it with a earbud and need a yellow dustbin to dispose of the buds. Direct the patient towards the waiting room and allot a chair. Ask them to wait for their token to be called and minimize unnecessary movement within the hospital. We need to display eye emergencies so we can give priority to these patients. A list of the emergencies are immediate 1 week, immediate and post 1 week post-operative follow-up, any active treatment like corneal ulcers, injury to the eye, physical, chemical, or thermal, sudden loss of vision, sudden pain in the eye, acute red eye, sudden onset of diplopia, drooping of lids, lid lesions, sudden onset of halos, photophobia, and sudden onset of discharge from the eye, and sudden onset of floaters and flashes are to be given priority. Staff at the reception and entrance have to maintain social distancing between patient, 1 meter distance between chairs and seating arrangement, glass barriers at all counters to prevent aerosol infection. I will be covering my third part, that's protocols for OPD. Protect the healthcare workers and providers and patients from COVID-19 without compromising the quality of care. Hospital staff, all staff to wear hair mask, wear mask. Staff directly handling patients in addition to need to wear goggles and face shields, slit lamp with indirect ophthalmoscope with breath shield, maintain social distancing and hand hygiene. The consent form should be signed and attenders allowed only if necessary. For very elderly, children and handicapped patients are attenders allowed. We communicate to the patient. We send out messages to all our patients informing them that we have started our OPD operations. We requested them to come only by appointments. We decided to take only 4 appointments in 1 hour. We shared the phone numbers by messages, Google page, and Facebook. Instruction to patients. Patients and attenders are required to wear their mask correctly at all times. Chairs in the waiting area and within all areas in the OPD have been arranged to maintain social distancing. Patients and attenders must follow the same. Patients with high temperature and low SpO2 are screened. There's a cutoff temperature of 99.4 and SpO2 of 95. If the patient has mild fever or mild symptoms, we treat with paracetamol and make them wait at the entry. But if the patient has high fever, 100-degree Fahrenheit, and slightly lower saturation, we need to refer them to a COVID treatment center and inform the COVID task force. We do not allow the entry of these patients into our hospital. Hand hygiene, sanitization, and registration, social distancing are main importance. In the triage, we try to filter out the emergency patients. And next, if any patient has conjunctivitis, we refer them to a redness clinic. And if the patient doesn't have a red eye, we shift the take the we ask the history, and a designated ophthalmologist will examine the patient as long as the patient doesn't have a red eye. Screening for fever is very important. If the patient has fever and it's an ocular emergency, a designated ophthalmologist in full PPE gear examines the patient in an isolated clinic. But if the patient, it's not an ocular emergency, we ask the patient to follow up after 2 weeks. If the patient has no fever, we ask for contact tracing. We ask for any history of any contact, or they're coming from a containment area with any or any symptoms of upper respiratory tract infection or acute conjunctivitis. These are 3 important symptoms. If yes, and it's an ocular emergency, a designated ophthalmologist with a PPE with due precautions will examine the patient as fast as possible in an isolated room. And if it's not an ocular emergency, we refer the patient to follow up after 2 weeks. But if the patient has no history of contact tracing or any symptoms, a designated ophthalmologist with gloves, PPE, does examine the patient and does the necessary workup for the patient. A redness clinic has to be done in a very well aerated room. Doctor with a PPE. Conjunctivitis will be managed there and the patient will be sent home immediately. Refraction, you need to wear mask, gloves, and face shield. Trial frames, near vision charts, and mouse are to be cleaned before and after screening the patient. Patient movement cart, an assistant accompanies the patient to the consultant's room. Doctor's examination room, all doctors will be wearing face masks, goggles, face shields. Gloves must be worn when necessary. Minimal conversation, hand rub to be used before and after each patient, and frequent hand washing. In between cleaning with sodium hypochlorite on all surfaces is mandatory. Waiting area, maintaining social distancing, well aerated room, cleaning of chairs, door handles, rails 3 times a day. Counseling, restrict patient interaction to as minimum as possible. If the patient needs to be explained more about the condition, like emergency surgery, you need a well aerated room and maintain social distancing. Instruments, the slit lamp, the lens, 90 diopters, 78 diopters. For cornea, we have the Orboscan, ASOCT, and specular. Retina, 20 diopters, contact lenses used for retinal laser, OCT, B-scan, and glaucoma, IOP measurement, the gonio lens, OCT, fundus, photography. Cataract, we have the keratometer, IOL master, and the immersion A-scan. Instruments without direct contact are the slit lamp and the bread shield, keratometer, IOL master, OP scan, ASOCT, specular, OCT, fundus photography. Forehead and chin wrist are to be cleaned after each patient with 70% isopropyl alcohol, 90 diopters, 78 diopters, and 20 diopters. Rim with isopropyl alcohol and optical surface with soap and water. Instruments with direct contact like measuring IOP, the GAT, eye care, and the tonopin. The gonioscopy lenses, lenses used for laser like YAG and PRP, probes for A scan and B scan, 3% hydrogen peroxide for 5 minutes, and 10% sodium hypochlorite. NCT staff should wear mask, gloves, and face shield, well aerated room, preferably near the window, a breath shield, no eye drops, at least for 5 minutes prior to the test, and red oil in the red eye. You need to avoid NCT. Visual field analyzer. The bowl is so delicate that rubbing will lead to damage. Company has recommended certain guidelines. Miss sprayer, that's 70% isopropyl alcohol. Alternate is CFA, that's C3 field analyzer, head mounted visual field analyzer. NLD patency, two methods, Ropla and syringing, can be done. They need to be avoided as far as possible. The BMW waste segregation is color coded. It's yellow, red, blue, and gray. Black and green. Respirator masks are to be put in the red and 3-ply mask in the yellow. BMW, the waste segregation is very important in COVID times. Pre-COVID, we had a very haphazard and indisciplined way of working. Now we are very disciplined by maintaining social distancing. We realize the importance of it. Plan for cleaning and disinfecting hospital in COVID times. The ongoing COVID pandemic has made us rewrite the rules that guided our ophthalmic practice pattern. OPD protocol, mandatory hand washing with soap and water for all staff and patients before entering the hospital, hand sanitization by 70% isopropyl alcohol spray at the entrance, floor cleaning by 1% sodium hypochlorite solution on 2-hourly basis, surface sanitizing of chairs, door handles, counter tabletops, stair rails, most touch surfaces with 1% sodium hypochlorite or 1% bacillocid extra, light switches and lifts to be sanitized by damp dusting with detergent solution. Surface sanitization to be done early during phases of patient rush. Freshly prepared sodium hypochlorite to be used. Contact time is 10 minutes minimum. Daily fogging of the OPD area to be done with suitable disinfectant, that's 1% sodium hypochlorite or 2% bacillocid special. UV sterilizer lights can be switched on for 3 hours after patient care activities. Optometrist brief, autorefs, NCT sanitization with alcohol wipes or bacillocid extra, trial flames to be cleaned with alcohol swabs after every patient, lenses to be sanitized with a dip in 70% alcohol or soap water solution and dried after use, sanitization of chairs to be done for every patient, of the optometrist to use alcohol hand rub minimum 20 seconds before and after seeing every patient. Examination room protocol, chairs to be sanitized by alcohol wipes and bacillocid solutions, slit lamp barriers, surfaces to be sanitized with alcohol wipes, disinfect all instruments and probes used in direct contact with patient's tear film and ocular surface before reuse, alcohol-based hand sanitizers before and after examining every patient, examination room protocol, manufacturer guidelines to be followed for cleaning and disinfection of delicate diagnostic equipment, tonometer tips to be disinfected with 70% isopropyl alcohol or dilute bleach, lenses for examination and lasers to be washed with soap and water for 20 seconds or wiped with alcohol wipes for B-scan probes. OR protocol. This is very important in COVID times where all surgeons and anesthetists are working. So we in our OT maintain temperature between 24 to 27 degrees centigrade, humidity between 40 to 70%. We stop the positive pressure ventilation at times of patient entry and 20 minutes after the patient has left the operation theater. Air handling unit equipped OTs to maintain 20 air exchanges per hour. For patients, 5% povidone iodine is instilled in the conjunctival sac 5 to 10 minutes before surgery. Also, we recommend chlorhexidine or betadine gargles for all our patients before shifting to OT. Floor cleaning and disinfection by 3 bucket method. The first is cleaning with detergent and water. We mop with plain water and repeat mopping with 1% sodium hypochlorite. Ceilings and wall detergent with 1 detergent and 1% sodium hypochlorite, all surface with 1% bacillocid extra, and daily fumigation with 2% bacillocid special. Overnight UV light and sterilization is advocated. Safety in OT during COVID times. We have a dedicated OT to be used for all confirmed or suspected COVID-19 patients. Negative pressure is recommended in the OT by ISHRAE guidelines. We remove all non-essential equipments and gadgets. We have transparent plastic sheets to cover all our monitors and machines and the patient too. We use disposable equipments as far as possible. Heat and moisture exchangers with viral filters. We place 2 high-quality H&E filters, first between the tracheal tube and the breathing circuit, and second between the expiratory limb and the anesthesia machine. Scavenging is suggested that a corrugated tubing be applied to the scavenging port, and that can be dipped in a bucket with 1% sodium hypochlorite solution. These are some of the detergents and the cleaning agents we use. One is D125 and the other is bacillocid extra. We use a 0.5% solution to clean the floors, walls and tiles. And in operation theater, we use a 0.5% solution, sorry. This is a very concentrated solution. We do not use the OT after this for around an hour. We keep it closed and we do not touch surfaces which are touched with this, which are cleaned with bacillocid, because it can cause scalding of skin, and we do not mix it with other agents. Protocol in between surgeries: floor mopping to be done, table to be cleaned, all biomedical waste immediately treated with 0.5% sodium hypochlorite, all linen to be treated with 0.5 sodium hypochlorite prior to doing laundry, and instruments immediately to be cleaned as per protocol. Proper doffing and disposal of masks and PPE to be done. Hospital Infection Control Committee will design the SOP and ensure implementation of various guidelines. Each department will have a designated staff who will be in charge of monitoring the implementation. Stay home, stay safe is the mantra. The risk do not outweigh the benefits slightly. The risks are tremendous when we are working in COVID times. We need to outweigh the risks for the benefit. Thank you so much.